Okay, from your knowledge of the area, did Donate and his people stay here in San Eli for a certain amount of time before they moved
Very,
up?
very little time. They might have been here maybe 2 weeks, 2 weeks, maybe up to a month.
Uh-huh.
They when they arrived here, they had been crossing over. Instead of following the river and coming up the Rio Grande from Texas, what is now Texas, they crossed over the desert. So by the time they got here, I mean, they had a lot of, animals with them. They needed water, they needed food, and all that. So they stayed here. They found the river and then fish, things to eat.
Mm-hmm.
But they stayed here maybe, I would guess around. I'm not real sure. It's probably written down in one of the history books.
Right.
They might have stayed here, I would guess, between 2 weeks and a month. And then they continued following the Rio Grande River up into what is now New Mexico.
Wow.
Mexico didn't come around until 1821.
That is so true.
So it was part of Spanish territory.
Ah, that is so true.
And Spain was claiming most of what is now Mexico and up into what is now the United States.
Right.
So it was Spanish territory at that time.
Okay, so it was pre-United States, obviously, also. But what we read over there was a transition with the river. There was a flood, and it caused the river to move.
Oh yeah.
And so
because before they built the Elephant Butte Dam and the Caballo Dam, whenever there had a lot of rain on some years, it would flood in this area. Okay, and even at one point, these towns, San Elizario, Isleta, and Socorro, they were kind of like on an island. Okay, so the river kept changing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so at one point, San Elizario was considered to be south of the river. But eventually, because the river changed, it wound up in the north. And then when they made San Elizario, when they made the river the border, then San Elizario wound up on the United States side.
I see. So it actually, if we went metal detecting out here, it might be hard to find any evidence of Donate.
Sometimes they find things like also in that trail when they're following the Camino Real, it follows the river to just past. Let's see, what is that name of that place? Well, I know past Las Cruces, but eventually, instead of following the river, they turn into the flatter region. I forget what the name of that trail is. But right going north, they stop following the river because it's harder to run wagons and all that near the river, so they go through kind of like the desert. And in fact, have you heard of that space thing that they built in New Mexico? That is on that trail. That is on that trail going because already it's about 5 or 6 miles past where the trail starts.
So it's in the middle of White Sands?
Not White Sands, but it's on the western side of those mountains.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's where we went over there.